There are writings in the world that exist somewhere between truth and fiction, and the Protocols of the Elders of Zion is one of them. This document, known for its controversial subject and impact, is counted among the most significant writings of the 19th century. Comprising 24 sections, it is said to contain a secret plan by Zionist leaders to achieve control over the world. The document discusses domination of banks and currency, manipulation of media and education, political deception, the corruption of social values, and the use of liberalism and socialism as tools to gain global power. It was first discovered by Russian intelligence and published in Russia in 1903, quickly becoming the center of international debate. Zionist sources have long dismissed it as false propaganda and a fabricated tale, yet the methods described in it appear strikingly similar to many events that have occurred worldwide. The text begins by presenting a brief overview of the protocols, each outlining a central idea rather than a full detailed plan. The first protocol declares that power is the only truth, suggesting that freedom, equality, and justice are merely beautiful slogans, and that real authority belongs to those who possess wealth and strength with gold, forming the foundation of global control. The second protocol focuses on creating global governance through economics, aiming to push nations into financial wars and crises while using the press and media to control public thought until all submit to a single world power. The third describes victory through corruption, as politicians are trapped by greed and self-interest, while people are deceived into believing they have representation, leaving real power in hidden hands. The fourth deals with the destruction of religion, claiming that materialism and sensuality would weaken every faith except Judaism, cutting people off from spirituality and making them easier to control. The fifth describes how tyranny will be masked as progress and freedom, making people believe oppression serves their benefit while ensuring power remains in the same hands. The sixth speaks of taking control of land and wealth through speculation and debt, trapping farmers and workers in cycles of financial dependency. The seventh talks about inciting wars between nations so that their strength collapses, forcing them to rely on Zionist leadership under the illusion of pursuing peace. The eighth describes transitional governments that will arise after colonial systems fall, run by corrupt and criminal figures who secretly obey their masters. The ninth emphasizes propaganda through law, education, and Freemasonry, manipulating truth and falsehood until the public accepts only the approved narrative. The 10th seeks to dismantle democracy and turn people toward dictatorship by exploiting liberal and freedom-based slogans, eventually establishing an authoritarian rule under full control. The 11th introduces the idea of universal governance, a system that appears global, but serves only specific interests rooted deeply through Freemasonry so that no nation dares to rebel even in the face of injustice. The 12th highlights the capture of media, creating a parallel state where censorship silences opponents, selective news molds public opinion, and only chosen narratives are allowed to spread. The 13th claims the masses will be distracted by entertainment, games, and meaningless disputes so they never question real issues, keeping their minds under control. The 14th speaks of destroying morality through pornography and materialism, eliminating religious ethics entirely. The 15th describes using Freemasonry for political power, eliminating opponents ruthlessly and turning strong enemies against one another to weaken them. The 16th focuses on controlling education by reshaping curricula to suppress independent thought, promoting obedience over critical thinking until genuine knowledge disappears. The 17th envisions corrupting the legal system and religious leaders, eroding public trust so that people depend solely on the new order. The 18th explains how freedom of speech will be encouraged, but used to spread unrest in rival states, organizing rebellion and chaos to justify a new system. The 19th shows how propaganda will deceive the public, making them see their submissive rulers as saviors, while genuine leaders are forced to defend themselves against false accusations. The 20th and 21st protocols discuss the economic web of control through debt, taxation, and interest, enslaving both citizens and governments under financial institutions that remain in hidden hands, while markets, bonds, and loans keep entire nations bound by obligation. The 22nd describes presenting this rule as a blessing, making people believe that even under oppression, their hope lies with their rulers, reinforcing the idea of a chosen people. The 23rd claims that absolute obedience to rulers will be portrayed as the greatest virtue so that people willingly accept servitude and never rebel. The final protocol predicts that eventually the world will accept a single ruler, a Jewish king, before whom all nations will bow, marking the ultimate stage of global domination. When the objectives and methods of these protocols are examined, it seems that much of the modern world appears to follow this roadmap almost exactly. For example, the idea of global wars and power struggles described in Protocol 7 mirrors real events like the First and Second World Wars or the Cold War, where hidden influences are often suspected. The financial web and debt systems mentioned in the economic protocols resemble today US international institutions, such as the IMF and World Bank, whose loans and conditions often pressure national economies, though this may be due more to the complexity of global finance than to any single conspiracy. The claim of media control in Protocol 12 aligns with modern realities, as media indeed shapes public opinion. And with social media, the power of information has multiplied. Propaganda, censorship, and selective news are now tools in the hands of both states and corporations. Similarly, the concept of manufactured economic crises and heavy taxation described in Protocol 20 can be traced in history through the Great Depression of 1929, the global financial crash of 2008, and recent economic tensions caused by protectionist trade policies. Finally, the prophecy of a single global ruler in Protocol 24 reflects religious imagery across faiths, echoing ideas like the Dajjal in Islam or the Antichrist in Christianity, showing that the narrative of ultimate domination has symbolic and theological parallels rather than purely political ones.